guys, it's Olivia and welcome back to Live in Literature. Thank you so much for all the love and support received in my last video, and if you have not seen it yet, feel free to head on over to my channel to check it out. Well guys, as you know, for the past couple of weeks we've been doing a series here. We started with the best standalone fantasy book recommendations, then we had the best fantasy duology recommendations, and now today, of course, as you can see from today's title, we are doing the best fantasy trilogy book recommendations. Now, in last week's video, I gave a little bit of my opinions about fantasy trilogies or just trilogies in general, and I'm just gonna expound upon that for a moment. Trilogies. What do I think of trilogies? Well, I've got kind of some hard and fast rules with trilogies. I just don't think they're always the most successful books. Now, I do think that a 3-book series is a beautiful thing because it grabs your fan base and it holds on to them so that you hold on to them for a while. And then eventually, but then you only have to wait 2 more books to get through the series, and then it's over and you wrap it in a little bow, you tie the knot, and you're like, boom, done. Fantasy trilogy, over, done with, it's whatever. And I do think that there's some benefit to doing this. I do think that that's a really, really smart plan. But the problem is, and then this is something that I talked about in last week's video, I don't think every author is very successful at doing the second book, because the second book is always the one that lacks the most stuff going on. It's usually a filler book. It doesn't have any substance and it's pointless to the plot of what is actually going on in this story. It's always 1 and 3 that are the best books in a series. So today I wanted to recommend some incredible fantasy trilogies to you guys that you will want to read, that the second book is not going to drag or lag or be bad, and that is going to get you back into your fantasy trilogy reading. Of course, there is the most famous trilogy that is being read and being concluded as of right now. We, of course, have Lauren Roberts' Fearless is out, the last book in the fantasy trilogy. I was hoping to have had it finished before I did this video. Unfortunately, I haven't even started it yet. I currently do have it in my possession. I just have not finished it. And that is because I've been busy reading other things, which gets on to our next segment of what I am currently reading versus what I just finished reading. And I'm embarrassed to admit what I just finished reading, okay? I'm really embarrassed to admit it.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Can we just say it in the comments? Let's say it one more time. Let's say it all together. Ready, class. 1, 2, 3. Orc smut.
You should be ashamed of yourself. And this is, you should come out and apologize.
Guys, I don't know what my problem is, okay? I just okay, I'm gonna level with you, all right? It's been a little rough in Olivia land these days, okay?
That's rough, buddy.
It's been a little bit hard romance-wise. It's been a little bit tricky man-wise. Real man-wise, not book boyfriend-wise, man-wise, okay? And the men's and dating in this day and age, okay? And it is,
I don't wanna come across like a woke asshole, but dude, women have it hard.
Some days I just kind of last week where I was I just want to read a cowboy book on Juniper Hill about a sexy man who cooks for his woman. How intriguing, what a delight that would be. And I stumbled upon a series of books that I honestly wish I hadn't, because they're not even that good, and yet I'm going to continue reading them. They're bad, okay? Warning, okay, this is your warning. They are bad, all right? But I'm gonna continue reading the series. So I just finished reading, this is so embarrassing. I just finished reading Crystal Luna's Bound to the Orc Warlord and Crystal Luna's Bound to the Orc Renegade.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to hear it, okay? I can feel the judgment coming through the camera, all right? I don't want to hear it. Now, Olivia, let's ask myself, Olivia, why? Just why? Why these? Why? And I'll tell you, I just wanted to read something nice and something silly and something monster romance related, because apparently this is the year for monsters for me. And that happens to be orcs. Orcs happen to be my monster of choice this year, which guess what? Big 7-foot green dudes.
That is disgusting. Give it to me now.
I don't see the problem. I think it's fun and I'm having a great time. So obviously, this is in the what are these? The Brides of Moonblade clan. So basically the world is set up. The author has set up this world where it's the Brides of the Moonblade clan. Essentially these women from from present day world are essentially transferred to this magical realm with like medieval creatures of like fairies and elves and unicorns and orcs, and they're called moonbound brides because the goddess of the orc world is the moon goddess, and she presents moonbound brides. So each of these like orc men in these books get paired up with like a human woman, and they're like their moonbound bride, and the girls are either like, wait, what? Like, I'm not married to you, like I don't even know you, and the orcs are all like, I'm freaking obsessed with you. Or they're kind of like, you know what, my life sucked on earth anyway, like let's just roll with it and have a good time and have a good romp, if you get my drift. So each of these ones is like, each one is going through like a story with like human woman, sexy orc man, and like a different adventure for each one. Now, is it cheesy as hell? Yes, it's so cheesy. It's painfully cheesy. Did I rate both of them 3 stars though? Yeah, I did. Okay. 3 stars. Even though it's cheesy as hell. All right. So cheesy and so stupid. And yet I will probably read all 6 books in the freaking Moonblade Clan series, okay? There's 6 of these that they have. And guess what? I'm going to read each one of them and have a good time. So that's why I haven't read Fearless, because I'm too busy reading orc smut, okay?
She needs to sort out her priorities.
So the next book I have, I think, is called Bound to the Orc, I think Orc Hunter. Yes, I think it's Bound to the Orc Hunter is the 3rd book that I'm reading in this series. And so I'm going to read that one, and it's going to be great. And it's going to be fun. I can't wait. But holy frick. Like, that's how I've been spending my time these days. Just enjoying the orcs. And I'm not even sorry about it. So get into it if you want to, but also don't. Okay, thank you. So getting back into fantasy trilogies. Fantasy trilogies are some of, again, like I said, it's a great reading device because you encapsulate a beautiful story in a 3-book series, and it's a beautiful thing to hold on to your readers. But again, it's not too long like a massive series like other books. But again, the middle book is usually the one that lags the most. In all of the recommendations that I have for you today, that it will not be the case. And I'm very excited to recommend some of these to you. Again, and it was interesting when I was going through trying to find some of the best fantasy trilogies that I've read, I realized that I haven't finished a lot of them. And that I think is because I like got bored, or like they like lagged, and then the 3rd book didn't come out until soon enough. So I feel like to do a successful fantasy trilogy, you have to hold your audience. You have to create an extremely compelling story. I think that Lauren Roberts, with the Powerless, Reckless, and Fearless trilogy, has created a beautiful thing, and I'm really excited to read that book. And I think a lot of authors have done this successfully, but I think that everyone could take a page out of the duology book and maybe just stick to a duology if you don't have enough story to fill with your 2nd book. But regardless, I'm very excited to talk about some fantasy trilogies for you today. So let's get started. Let's just get this one right out of the way, because I know everyone's going to be like, I can't believe you're talking about this book. Everybody's read this. Yeah, whatever. Okay. I am the cult leader of this book. I'm the cult leader of this fandom. And therefore we're going to start with Miss SJM's Acatar, A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and of course, A Court of Rings and Ruin. Now, I know what everybody's thinking. They're like, whoa, Olivia, your copies of Acatar don't look like everybody else's. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I am an OG Acatar girl. I've been with Acatar since the very beginning. I've known about it years before it was popular, before the SJM girls came in clutch, okay? I have been part of this cult since day freaking 1.
Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
And I will remain a part of this cult and lead the cult to the very end. I love Acatar, but I am a Throne of Glass girl for life. If you know, you know. But Acatar. Now, some of you might be like, well, there is a, I'm also not including novellas in this review, obviously. I do think that like, the Acatar series is a full series because it has these 3, then there's the novella, and then there's book 5, which is A Court of Silver Flames. But the problem is that it's not a completed series. And in my opinion, the original like Acatar trilogy, like this was the original trilogy. And I think then after with the gained popularity, SJM decided to go back and expand on her story. So in my opinion, this is a completed trilogy. And then it's going to be a full series once that series is done. It is not currently done. This is a completed trilogy in my opinion though. I think all of these books are extremely strong. And in regards to the 2nd book of my biggest qualm of the series of it not being the strongest, the 2nd book in this series, in my opinion, is the best book. It actually might be one of the best books ever written, in my opinion. This is probably in my top 3 best things ever written, is A Court of Mist and Fury. Like, yeah, top 3. I put it in my top 3. Like one of the best things that I've ever read in my entire life. I'm literally not even kidding.
Next, Nia. You're third on the pyramid. You were third overall high score.
And I know people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you're just one of the sheeple who's in love with Acatar. No, okay? I've been with this fandom for years. I understand the depths of how important Acatar is to people. Obviously, if you don't know the plot summary, here is the briefest one possible because everybody knows about this series. But essentially, we have young Feyre, a human girl, the younger sister of two older sisters, and she essentially is in the woods fighting for her life. Her family is starving, they are destitute, they are poor, and she ends up killing a wolf in the woods one day to bring home to her family. But what she doesn't realize is that she's actually killed one of the Fae that live nearby along the border. And when she kills this Fae, another Fae, the one who rules the Spring Court, his name is Tamlin, shows up one day and basically barrels down her door and says, you have to come with me to the Spring Court to pay recompense for the fact that you killed one of my Fae people from the Spring Court. And so she goes to the Fae realm and she essentially discovers this whole new world that she had no idea even existed. Now, I absolutely adore Acatar. TOG is superior, okay? Throne of Glass is the most superior of all the SJMs. No, it's not even, it's not even an argument, okay?
Put a pin in it. Boop, pin in. There you go. Now, let's let that hang there a bit, and then we'll address that when we thought things through, okay? Good enough for everybody?
I don't care what anyone says about this romance versus those romance. No, TOG will always be superior. But I do think that this book series has one of the most lasting, profound relationships ever. And I think that what SJM has done with Acatar has shown people, and specifically, I would say shown women, the kind of relationships that they deserve to have. Because I love that this book series is a trial and error. I love that this book series, we start somewhere and we end somewhere completely different of like where Feyre is as a person, how she's doing mentally, and also like how she's grown in her relationships with her peers, with her lover, and with her sisters. And it's like it's all growing. Like, I feel like Acatar is very much a book about growing pains and about like that life is just so flippin' hard. It is so hard. And who you choose to spend your life with is your choice. And you could choose wrong. You can choose wrong. But you also have the chance and the opportunity to change your mind and choose right and pick someone who's going to lift you up, to support you, and to have your back. And also to surround yourself with people who are going to be there for you and be your people, and surrounding yourself with good friends. Like, I think that's the biggest thing about Acatar that draws the community in, is that it is literally like about found family, and it is about having your own like inner circle of friends and people that you keep close by that are going to sustain you for your entire life, that are always going to have your back. And so I flippin' love Acatar. I think everything about it is perfect. I don't care if every other freaking like annoying man on the planet is like, oh, girls who read Acatar only like smut. Shut up, okay?
You shut up!
It's not. It's way more than that. Like, yeah, do they sometimes Marvin Gaye and get it on? Abso-flippin'-lutely. And did it change my life when I was but a wee slip of a girl of 20 years old reading this for the first time? And I read chapter 54 and I read chapter 55? Yeah, changed my freaking mind. My brain was blown out of my head, blown out of my socket. But also, I just think that it's more than just that. It's bigger than all of us. Like, Acatar is bigger than all of us. And I think that's why it's one of the most popular fantasy series, like, legitimately in the world currently. And that's why I think everybody should read this trilogy. It's a solid trilogy. Each one of these just gets better and better and better. And, like, each book just builds off of one another. And I just absolutely love this trilogy. And I love SJM because she is my mother and my queen. So, everybody go read Acatar. The next fantasy trilogy I want to talk about is one of the most well-written trilogies on the freaking planet by one of the greatest authors of all time. She is in my pantheon of authors along with Miss SJM, who is the reigning queen. We, of course, have the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy by Miss V.E. Schwab. Guys, the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy is a flawless trilogy. A perfect execution of what a trilogy should be. The premise of the book essentially is about a young mage named Kel. He has a magic coat, which essentially helps him transport into all the 4 realms of Londons. So essentially we have London, which is like red London, white London, black London, and gray London. And each of the 4 quadrants of Londons are like different like universes essentially. So Kel exists in the red London, but he goes to visit the other Londons to make sure that like things are going okay and like checking in on people. And essentially he unleashes some dark magic without realizing it, and he seeks the help of a young woman named Delilah Bard from Grey London, who is seeking an adventure, and these two end up teaming up to essentially stop this evil magic that Kel has brought into his own world on accident. I absolutely adore V.E. Schwab as a writer. I think that her writing is absolutely flawless. This trilogy is definitely more along the grittier side of things. This one's definitely more like slightly dark academia-ish, like a little bit. It just reads that way a little bit. It's definitely grittier. It's like grimier. There's a lot more like intellectual magic that they're kind of dealing with here, and you really like have to understand the world building of that. And I think V.E. Schwab does a flawless job at navigating that, and I just think it is one of the most successful trilogies ever. Obviously the first book, A Darker Shade of Magic. The second one is A Gathering of Shadows. Sorry, I'm supposed to go here. A Gathering of Shadows, and then A Conjuring of Light is the last one. Do not ask why I have one hardback and two paperbacks. Trust me, it pisses me off to no end. I absolutely hate it. I need to fix it. It drives me insane every single day. But V.E. Schwab is just an absolutely like a talent of an author and absolutely like unreal with her writing. I'm just automatically like blown away every time she freaking puts pen to paper. Like truly like a phenomenal author who writes phenomenal books. And this trilogy is succinct. It's beautiful. It ties a bow at the end and gives you a perfect ending that you will want to read over and over and over again, and it will never let you down. So you've got to give it up for A Darker Shade of Magic. The next fantasy trilogy is going to be more of a low-key fantasy trilogy, okay? This one's definitely going to be from a newer author, but someone who I want to shout out because I am here to promote all authors, and even though this isn't probably the best writing or the best writing I've ever read, I still want to recommend it because it's definitely more like low stakes and also a little bit more like lower quality writing, but I still appreciate the author for trying. We have Stacey McEwen's Ledge, Chasm, and Valley. Stacey McEwen went really viral on TikTok a couple of years ago for her funny little skits about book talk and book boyfriends on TikTok.
I think I saw your man with another woman today.
What?
Yeah, they were getting a coffee together.
Well, I think the best course of action is to never bring this up with him and assume the worst.
And I adore her. She's darling and Australian, and I live. And she's one of the newer authors on the scene, and she wrote this fantasy trilogy. Obviously, we have got Ledge, Valley, Chasm. I read all of these over Christmas break, and I enjoyed them to a certain extent. I do think that the writing is not the best that it could absolutely be, but I enjoyed the book series for what it was. It's succinct. There's no dip in the middle book. I would say the middle book, if anything, is a good pickup place. Like, it really picks up in the second book, I feel like, compared to the first, because the first, it just takes a minute for you to, like, really get there, but the second book like really picks things up, and I think Valley is a beautiful conclusion to this series. To give you guys a quick plot summary of this trilogy, we have a young woman named Dawson who lives basically on the edge of a cliff in freezing temperatures. She's an axe wielder, and they have to do anything that they can to survive because there are these creatures called the Galatians who come every so often, every quarter or so, to like take people from the ledge and take them to their kingdom up above, and you never see them again. You just assume that they die or whatever. So Dawson gets taken one of these times, and it gets taken to the Galatians' kingdom, where she meets a young Galatian man named Ryan, and essentially they team up to escape this kingdom and to escape the ledge and to help her people. I really admire Dawson's character. I think she's really gritty. I think she's fun. She's a little bit naive because she doesn't know about the world around her. But I love the side characters. I will say in the second book, the side characters rule the book. The first book, you're getting to know Dawson. You're getting to know Ryan. But the second book, the side characters are the people who rule that book. And they work hard to rule that book. And I think side characters really can make or break a book. And I absolutely love them coming through in the second one. And then the third one is just the cherry on top. I will say, I think this is a 3.5 star, overall, 3.5 stars overall for this trilogy. So again, not the best writing in the entire world, but I still enjoyed the story, and I still want to recommend it in today's video for a great fantasy trilogy that everyone should read. And of course, last but certainly not least, the pièce de résistance of fantasy trilogies and a book series that I am the biggest apologist for. We have another SJM. We have the Crescent City trilogy, by Miss Sarah J. Maas, who is the greatest of all greats. We have, of course, Crescent City, House of Blood and Earth. We have House of Sky and Breath, and of course, House of Flame and Shadow, which came out last year. Now, I think the Crescent City trilogy has problems. However,
and I am choosing to ignore this verdict.
What? You can't ignore the verdict?
What verdict?
I do not think that they reside in the first two books. I think the first two books are flawless. I actually think this first book, House of Blood and Earth, might be one of the greatest things ever written. This is an urban fantasy, so it's going to be modern day with fantasy elements. This one is about a young woman named Bryce and her best friend Danica. And essentially, one day, Danica, a horrible accident befalls Bryce's best friend. And years pass away with nothing happening, nothing to show for it, and no one knowing what happened during this accident, and to Bryce's best friend. And so Bryce essentially is teamed up with an angel named Hunt Acatar, who is based essentially like a police task force of Crescent City, and essentially they team up to figure out this like murder mystery of what happened to her best friend and how they're going to solve it, and essentially all the other like political elements that are going on in this city. This book is about so many things, but this book series is a lot about friendship, and it's a lot about grief. And this book is like, it hit me so hard the first time that I read it. I bawled my way through this book because it is truly one of the saddest things I've ever read. Because if you've ever had like a best friend in your life, oh my gosh, like it just hits so hard. And the story and the message hits so hard. And similarly to Acatar, I would say that like this book series is so about like picking your person, but also about like picking the people you surround yourself with in your life and having good people in your life who are going to support you and love you. And I think both of these books are absolutely incredible. This book leaves you on the greatest cliffhanger of all fetching time, that changed lives, that rocked the world, that shook the foundation of everything we ever knew that was possible in the SJM universe forever, is at the end of this freaking book. And then we have House of Flame and Shadow. Now, I've given my thoughts on this. I did a reading vlog on this. I did a whole video on my discussions of this, but I also have rethought my opinions. Because when I filmed those, I think I was hype on the energy of Crescent City and how excited I was for this last book to be installed. However, I do think this book is flawed. I don't think it was written very well, and I do think that it is the downfall of the Crescent City trilogy. I think the trilogy would have been successful, and it would have been one of the best trilogies of all time if this last book had been better. I do think that Sarah had good intentions with this book, and I don't think it's necessarily like bad. Like, I think the writing is good, and I think that the characters are strong and that we're making decisions that are logical. However, I don't think it's the strongest ending to a series, especially one as epic as Crescent City. I just think like it fell a little flat when she tried to introduce other characters, and I don't think that's the strongest ending to such a beautiful series, especially one where like we started in such a beautiful place with love and grief and like friendship and I don't know, just like this beautiful place of vulnerability, and then we ended it like this, and I just don't think that it was the best way to end such a great series.
Take that back! Never! Take it back! No!
I still will always recommend this series though, because I am a Crescent City apologist and I love this series. I don't think the third book is as strong as the other two, but the other two far outweigh the problems of this book in my opinion. And I do think that it is a beautiful trilogy, regardless of what happened with House of Flame and Shadow. So again, I think that everyone should go read Crescent City by Miss Sarah J. Maas. So that is all the fantasy trilogies that I have for you guys today. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe to the Live in Literature YouTube channel. Guys, if there's any video ideas and things that you would like to see on the channel, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments. I am so looking forward to making more videos for you guys. I have another idea for a really fun one coming up soon. And if you are enjoying this series about fantasy whatever, I'm thinking of doing a one of the best fantasy series to recommend, question mark, maybe if people are interested in that. But regardless, I am so looking forward to making more videos for you guys. I love you guys the most, and I hope you have an amazing day. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.